I thought this story sounded like it was an autobiography. I mean, it was, to me, it was so specific that it seemed like a true story. Um, yeah, anyway, they
Well,
show his mind, like
it's based on observation. The characters, like, you know, you've got the frumpy housewife in the latter part of the story, is probably that he's modelled it on one or several people.
probably.
There'd be few writers like there'd be few writers that could invent a character completely out of their own head.
Right, right.
Well, for example, if you ever watched the series or read the book called Poldark.
No.
A very, very popular BBC story. They did a remake of it. And atmospherically, I was always intrigued as a kid because I saw very little of it, but the story's about a small landowner living in Georgian England. And he, to make ends meet, he becomes involved in smuggling. And so you've got, you know, in Cornwall, England, which was a very famous place for all the smugglers and that. And the guy who wrote the book based his character on the live observations of his hero. One of his basic models was a Spitfire pilot he knew, down to the scar the character had on his face. And the thing is that there's very rarely what you would call a complete person. People who are highly capable and skilled in one way, like a fighter pilot, will tend to be people who are nutcases in other ways. We don't, you know, you don't find the person who's particularly fantastic at something and then he's an all-round sort of good guy. And Poldark's an interesting character study because Poldark's a character who thinks he's the good bloke, but subtly the story is telling you that he's not really the good bloke. It's very rich because the author went to great lengths to study history and work in an enormous amount of detail down to what people, you know, what people received in wages back in those days. And this took a lot of research. And this guy who's writing this comic, he's probably a bit of a, you know, he's probably your intellectual introvert himself, but he's very observant. He looks at character types. He's looking at how they behave. Now, it's like this girl here, she comes in, she's got a glamorous hairstyle, she's got a nice body. If I was a young guy, I'd be tempted into an immoral situation. Now that I'm an old guy, I couldn't be bothered with the trouble. And so he's there, he imagines he's Jason receiving the siren song. Extremely flattering, but I think it would be inappropriate given the nature of, now that was inappropriate. What that ever means, I don't know. Maybe he fell for it.
Okay. Thank you. Can I go on to the next page?
Yeah, sure.
Page 102.
102, okay. I'll have to catch up to that. It's quite a distance down. Oh, okay, he's got the frumpy spiritualist housewife there. I was a shaman in a past life. Many times I've blown smoke to the four winds. I would say instead, I'd say there's many times I've blown smoke up people's asses. This is the most auspicious arrangement I could come up with, so I advise you not to move anything.
I just really love the drawing here. And I love how in these drawings, he just uses a couple different colors. It's like purple, yellow, beige. Those are the only colors he's using. And I don't know. I just love the drawings.
So it's semi-monochrome.
Okay.
No, it's not really monochrome, but it's getting close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the drawings in this comic. And I love how they draw him too. Like his head is like how would you describe that? It's
a semicircle. That's all it is, a semicircle at the top. You know, you could get out with your ancient protractor set and draw the head with one of those little cutouts they used to have in the little plastic drawing thingies you used to have when you were a kid.
Right. Yeah, so I like that. Let me point out another page. Okay, page 110. Oh, I pointed this one out because this is kind of similar to well, I know, David, you brought up how to analyze art. And I guess he's got his own explanation of it. So there's a lot of he brings up a lot of theory, I guess art theory in this book. Philosophy. It's very thoughtful. He's a very thoughtful character. I really like his character. He's very likable. Well, kind of.
He's complex.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay. And then the last page I jotted down was page 234. Oh yeah. This these drawings were really cool too, where he's descending basically from 233. No, basically from, it starts off on page 232. And then it goes through page 252. Those drawings were really amazing.
The descent of Orpheus into the underworld.
You think that's where he got that from?
I think that's clearly obvious what it is. It's the descent of Orpheus into the underworld.
Oh,
You start off with Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog, to the gates of Hades.
oh, I see.
And Orpheus descends into the underworld. He arrives at the river Styx. And he encounters the souls of the damned.
Hmm. He's basically, he's just going into the metro. Is that the New York metro system?
Yeah, they've updated Hades. They decided New York was the metro was obviously the closest thing to hell on earth. So
Right.
you're not familiar with the imagery, the imagery of the Greek underworld from mythology.
No, I was never, I don't know. I never really got into Greek mythology for some, I don't know why. I know it's really popular for a lot of people, but to me it was, I don't know. I just remember reading Odyssey? No, the Odyssey, and I was so confused. I don't know. That's why I need help when I read these.
Well, sure, it takes good teaching. It takes a good guide to help.
Yeah, probably this is something which you'd teach the kids in school with just a simple reader. You could read you're going to come up with references to these classic stories throughout your life. So I don't know what they teach kids in school, that why they neglect stuff like this. Yeah, anyway, so instead of a harp, he's got his sort of protractor set.
Yeah, it's made out of a ruler and one of those level things. What are they called? That you use to see if a board is level.
Now, I forget the exact story, but who was it? Was the daughter of one of the goddesses who was tricked into being Pluto's consort, or something like that. Or maybe it was another dead person. So some hero has gone down into the underworld to retrieve his lover.
Eurydice, I think.
Eurydice, right. Okay, that's
or Eurydice. Maybe it's Eurydice. Eurydice. Yeah, his wife Eurydice. in this case, Hana plays Eurydice, and the story ends tragically. Always has to end.